Views expressed by Casters Guild members are only the opinions of that member, and that could change from day to day. Guild members may use mature language, but that in no way means they are mature. Listener discretion is advised.
Craft a giant side and head to ringside. The hypest music you've ever heard has just started, and your favorite superstar is headed to the ring. But watch out, he's about to betray his tag team partner and make the heel turn. Let's get ready to rumble! And that's the spell we're casting tonight on Casters Guild.
That's good, but we may get sued.
I don't think I did it well enough to get sued.
You got to watch out for Michael Buffer.
Michael Buffer's a dick.
He really is.
All right, and with that, I am your guild master, Rick Perry, one half of the Casters Guild tag team.
You just said fuck it.
We can't do better than that on an intro.
You're fine.
By the way, you might get sued.
Fuck you, Michael Buffer. All right, well, I'm the second. I'm still just fucking flabbergasted by that. You just went straight into it. Anyways, I'm your other guild master, Baron Kane. I couldn't think of anything fast enough, so we're just gonna go with that. Yeah, you're welcome.
And welcome tonight, a brand new guild member. Feel free to introduce yourself.
My name is Billy. I've been a wrestling fan for, I'm 39 now, so I'd say 37 years. I've watched all forms of wrestling from every country known to man and all the way back around again.
All right, so wrestling. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm a little bit out of my element on this one. I know I've said that on past casts, and then kind of ended up interjecting and knowing a little bit more than I thought I did. But I really do think I'm out of it on this one. I think we found out right before I started recording the last time I watched wrestling was like 2000, 2001. So like literally 20 years ago.
To be fair, that's a good time for people to have been into wrestling. There's a lot of stuff going on then. So, you were there. Yeah.
I mean, that's back when I could buy my Steve Austin jersey at Kmart. So, yeah.
I remember getting an NWO shirt at Kmart. It was really bad.
That was like the place. That was the place for like wrestling stuff, wasn't it?
And they probably had some sort of exclusive deal or something.
No, I just think Kmart was just that shady. They just had all the wrestling stuff.
Oh yeah. So, excuse me. It's time to just kick this off.
Well, you said so like there was something coming after that.
There was, but I was like, oh, there's so much to talk about. Because, like, I mean, you just kind of, you said it in your intro, wrestling from all over the world. There really is, especially now, wrestling all over the fucking world. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
It used to be just like an American phenomenon to Americans, not even realizing that, Japan had a thriving wrestling crowd.
And the luchadors, don't forget them too.
Yeah.
But we usually start these things just kind of give you guys a jumping off point. We usually start these things when we did the anime episode. I asked what's your favorite anime. So since we're doing the wrestling episode, why don't we start with who's your favorite wrestler? Why not? I mean, like that's a good one, right? Who's your favorite wrestler?
That's a complicated question, friend. I actually thought about that before I came on, and it's got to be between three different guys.
That's always how it boils down to, by the way.
Usually it's a list. Yeah.
One of the guys on the list, his name is Kazuchika Okada. He wrestles for New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. He's a multiple-time champion. He just lost the belt July 4th at Wrestle Kingdom. The other guy would be Daniel Bryan, otherwise known as Bryan Danielson, one of the best technical wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. I actually got to see him in person in 2008. It's pretty awesome. And the last guy would be Terry Funk, which I can't really introduce Terry Funk. He kind of just exists. Terry Funk's been wrestling since the 70s. He's a former NWA heavyweight champion, former ECW heavyweight champion, probably one of the most insane men in the history of wrestling.
Yeah, that's funny. So, like, I'll go ahead and go with mine, and I have a couple. On the parallel of that, I'll go ahead and start out with Mick Foley is probably one of my favorites, and he just not only because of his wrestling, because he's not. Come on, let's face it, he's not really the best wrestler out there,
He
but
has his moments.
he does definitely have moments. And granted, when I really started watching him, he was pretty banged up. So, but if you don't know who Mick Foley is, he's Mankind, he's Cactus Jack, he's Dude Love, he's wrestled as Mick Foley. If you don't know who Mick Foley is, then you're not going to know any of those guys. But he's been wrestling for a while, and I think that the main thing I like about him is just his overall passion for the sport in general. And he just seems like a generally nice guy. And I have a thing for nice guys. It's like if they're nice outside the ring, then you know what, I pretty much fucking like him.
The man is pretty much Santa Claus.
Yes. Isn't his house just 365 days a year just Christmas?
There was a period where he had some form of Santa memorabilia on him for a year.
Huh.
He's big into Santa Claus.
Yeah. He's a good guy. And I think we're going to go with maybe one of the newer wrestlers that actually Billy has introduced me to that I really fucking like. It's Dalton Castle.
The life approves.
He's a little extravagant, and he comes with a whole horde of boys. That's what he calls them.
He does. He's got 2 boys. And
Yeah.
they're hard to take care of. For anybody listening out there, it's a fun YouTube video of Dalton Castle taking care of his boys.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to go with a twofer, and I'm just going to say the Young Bucks.
Both of the Bucks.
They are a buck between them. So yeah, the Young Bucks. I really enjoy them. Again, I seem to really, and we're going to get into this later, I promise, but I feel like I need to bring it up. I really, really enjoy people that piss off Jim Cornette.
Already?
Yeah, I'm jumping into it already, but we will get into it more later, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's not hard to piss off Jim Cornette.
True.
The
We are
shit list
literally
of Jim
pissing him
Cornette
off
is
right
long.
now. Yeah, we are now on it, actually.
Just mentioning his name.
How dare you?
I'm
that's a good
gonna
move.
hashtag this with his name just so people can find it easier.
Fucking please do it. Holy shit.
All right, I know I don't have a whole lot of wrestling knowledge, but while we're doing this, might as well go ahead and do it in the rule of threes. My wrestling knowledge mostly comes from my dad, he's a great big wrestling fan. So basically the wrestlers I watched were the times when I was hanging out with my dad. So there's back when I was a really, really little kid, my favorite wrestler at the time was the Ultimate Warrior. And biggest reason I liked Ultimate Warrior was because I had a blanket with his face on it. And that was my comforter on my bed as a kid.
Wait. Was it your comforter or was it your comfort?
Kind of both, actually. Okay. It was my comforter on my bed, and not to drag up a bunch of past that doesn't necessarily need to be drug up on the podcast, but my dad wasn't around a whole lot because he drove truck. So just the fact that it was wrestling and my dad liked wrestling, that was neat to me. And then later on, when I was in middle school, I stayed with my dad for a little while, and we were watching wrestling again. That was the WCW, WWF, when they were still separate and everything like that. I really liked Diamond Dallas Page, and I really liked Rob Van Dam. And Rob Van Dam I just liked because when he came out to the ring, you knew a chair was going to come from somewhere, a chair or anything. He was always hitting somebody with something he wasn't supposed to hit him with. So
considering the background you were telling us earlier, I wasn't expecting an ECW guy to pop up.
Well, he was on I think it was WWF.
He was actually, now that I think about it.
And that's what I know him from. Because, I never saw ECW. The only thing outside of WCW and WWF and later WWE that I ever saw was my dad was actually part of his own semi-professional wrestling federation they called SWF. And he went by Bubba Redneck. And he was the bad guy. He was the fake racist that the guys got to beat up because he was
low hanging fruit.
Yeah, he was basically the bad guy because he wore a Confederate flag and stuff like that. So he was Bubba Redneck, and later he made a face turn, and he helped his rival he had been his rival for years, and he became Captain Redneck instead of Bubba Redneck.
Wow!
So Yeah, and then he started dressing like a nice cowboy, like he had like the Stetson hat and the denim shirt and stuff like that. So
that's always
amazing.
It's the redneck kind of hillbilly kind of gimmick is great because it can go either way.
Yeah.
It's classic.
Oh my God, Hillbilly Jim. Talking about classic wrestlers, Hillbilly Jim also another one of my favorites.
The guy's still yoked.
Good Lord, yes. Oh my God. I felt bad for all those other old guys that were in that Legend Royal Rumble that they had that Iron Sheik had to win because if he fell out, his knees would explode.
The Gimmick Battle Royal? I believe
that's
that
what
was
it's
in
called, Gimmick Battle
2001.
Royal.
Oh yeah, that's one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. And you know who's in it? Jim Cornette.
Ah, you're right.
Yeah. He hates gimmicks, but he was in that Gimmick Battle Royal. What a weird thing.
Yeah, it was weird.
So when you went to that show in 2000, 2001, do you remember anything about it in specifics?
Oh, you talked. Well, actually, I never went to a live show until. Well, I went to my dad's live shows, like the semi-professional wrestling that he used to do. And that was actually probably when I was younger. That was actually probably in elementary school. So that was in the 90s. And actually, I only went to a few, but there was actually one where we staged something where I actually showed up as a fan of Power Man Mr. E, which was my dad's rival. And I was ringside with like a tearaway T-shirt with my stepbrother and cheering on Power Man Mr. E. And when Bubba Redneck came out, we started booing him, who was, of course, my dad. And him and his tag team partner both roughed us up and tore our T-shirts off because they were Power Man Mr. E T-shirts.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, which was really great because they didn't plan this. But that week I went home with my mom. I stayed with my dad on weekends. That week I went home with my mom and I broke my arm on the swing set.
Wow.
So the next weekend after he fake beat me up, I came back to the ring with a cast on my arm. It was a legitimate cast.
Well, the funny thing is he wore that cast for the next 5 years.
Oh, Bob Orton style.
But no,
Bob still wears that cast to this day. That arm's been broken for 40 years.
The only professional match I ever actually went and saw was I think it was Raw, and it was in Nashville here, where near where I live, and basically it was like 1 or 2 years ago. And a couple friends of mine who were really into wrestling were just like, "Hey, we got tickets. Do you want to go? You can get tickets for pretty cheap." And like I ended up getting on the floor, which was really nice, especially in Bridgestone Arena. So, and the only thing I remember, and I think this is either going to get me liked by wrestling fans or hated by wrestling fans. But the only thing I really remember from that is that I thought that Dean Ambrose guy was pretty cool.
Oh, he's cool.
He's all right.
Okay.
I mean, that's not his name anymore, but he's still pretty cool.
Okay. Oh, and Undertaker showed up, which I thought I was not expecting at all because I thought he wasn't in wrestling anymore.
I mean,
well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I got to see Undertaker live once too. Don't nod whatever you're doing over there. Seeing the Undertaker's awesome. It doesn't matter how old he is.
He didn't do anything while he was there. He just kind of showed up, and the entire arena went dark. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, lights came on. And then lights came on, and he was standing there in the middle of the ring, and just all threatening, and I think they were promising something for upcoming WrestleMania. WrestleMania was coming soon.
Wait. Did they point anywhere?
I don't remember.
If they didn't point, it wasn't WrestleMania.
What he's referring to?
No. It was 100% WrestleMania. We had a great big sign behind us that said WrestleMania. Every 5 seconds, they were coming for WrestleMania. They was definitely
they should have been pointing at you the whole show then. That's what they do. I don't know if they did it back then, but they definitely do it now.
They've done it for a long time. What he's referring to is right around between January and April, what's known as WrestleMania season. Whoever's in the main event of WrestleMania will actually point to the WrestleMania sign to signify that they're in the main event. And the person that they're going up against will also point to that sign to signify, hey, I'm in that main event too.
I too am in that main event.
And then they'll just fade to black. And they'll do that for a couple weeks straight. They might get the women to do it one time, maybe the tag teams, but they're all point to that sign. And that sign means, hey, we'll meet you at WrestleMania.
It's so
like
funny.
clockwork. But yeah, it's gotten much worse in recent years. In recent years, you had people like Ronda Rousey just stare at it woodenly and go, it's really bad.
They had a mic on her and everything. It was just, what? Oh man, yeah. Speaking of all that, I will say that the last pay per view I thought was fun, but WWE has just gotten way wooden is good. A good description. Very formulaic, clockwork. It's
boring.
Ridiculous. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I will say that one of the things that they did that, again, like Rick said, there's going to be wrestling fans that either hate me for saying this or love me for saying this. Their cinematic wrestling matches that they've been doing, I rather enjoy.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. They're hit and miss.
Yeah, well, yeah,
some of them are pretty bad. There was an Edge Randy Orton one that seemed like it was about an hour and a half long for WrestleMania, and it was just boring shit.
It was, yeah. It should have been way better too, but I think a lot of that had to do with Randy Orton. I hate to say it.
I don't know whose fault it is, but they had plenty of time to edit it and make it better. Their Undertaker one with AJ Styles, the Boneyard match,
great.
That was awesome. That was everything wrestling should be. It was cheesy. It had music, lightning.
Yep.
Had a biker gang.
Yep.
What else did it have? It had stuff. It was awesome.
Run-ins.
It did have run-ins.
Interference.
Run-ins by guys that got fired like a month later.
Yeah, poor guys. Well, I shouldn't say poor guys. I'm sure they're going to be better off now.
Yeah, they'll probably end up back in New Japan, to be honest. That's where they came from.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. They're original members of the Bullet Club.
Right, but, since the Bullet Club has went over to the island of Misfit Toys, I figure they might go over there.
There's a lot of money in Bullet Club merchandise.
The Island of Misfit Toys reference, by the way, is AEW, the newer, the only good thing of 2020.
The popular Bullet Club guys are in AEW now, but there's still a Bullet Club in New Japan. Consists of their leader Jay White, the Switchblade.
Really?
And your boy Tamatonga, he's still over there.
Yeah, I knew that. Tamatonga, I really like Tamatonga.
Yeah, the good boy, bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still some Bullet Club out in Japan.
Don't apologize. Go talk.
Yeah, I mean, I really have I still like Bullet Club. Bullet Club is fun. It's it's aesthetically pleasing. I think that's a big draw for it for a lot of people.
They're still finding themselves after all the Bucks and Kenny Omega and Marty Scurll and all those guys left at the same time. Hangman Page. They're still trying to find themselves as a group. They got a new leader in Jay White. They got Kenta. They have, that was quick. They got the Bone Soldier. They got some people in the Bullet Club. It's just not what it used to be.
Yeah, it used to be. Oh man, yeah, it was kind of like the dominant thing in wrestling, and they were all the way in New Japan at the time.
Yeah, New Japan, and they spread out the Ring of Honor. You had former guys of the Bullet Club were on top in WWE. They were on top in Impact Wrestling. They were all over the place. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing former Bullet Club members or Bullet Club members at the top of the card, main eventing, winning championships. They were everywhere. That's
really cool. It's really cool to see stuff other than WWE making an impact in the world of wrestling too.
And now is just the perfect time to not be in WWE. You got another company out there called AEW, All Elite Wrestling. The independents, which are the indies, it's a nickname for companies that are independent of WWE. They're independent of AEW or some other conglomerate owning them. These are guys, mom and pop wrestling places. They're popping off left and right.
And now is the perfect time for independent wrestling because of the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, before you had to actually go to their shows. Now it's just like, fuck
Independent Wrestling TV. There's a internet channel out there, Independent Wrestling TV. They have more promotions than you can shake a stick at. Local promotions from here in Columbus, worldwide promotions like Beyond Wrestling, really specific promotions. They have some CZW stuff up there. If you guys have heard of CZW, they're a pretty popular indie.
Didn't my boy make it up there? Didn't Derek's stuff make it up there?
Derek.
Unsanctioned Pro?
Yeah, Unsanctioned Pro.
I feel like I am required to name drop Unsanctioned Pro.
Unsanctioned Pro. I haven't been to one of their shows. I've seen a couple of their shows on Independent Wrestling TV. I was actually pretty impressed. They got a pretty good lineup of independent stars, some guys I've heard of, some guys I haven't that are pretty impressive. Definitely going to make some time to come to one of their shows.
Yeah, I'll say that I think that he gets good people at his shows because he treats his people good. Like the wrestlers that come to his show, he treats really good, so they always want to come back. So, yeah, it's good stuff.
So speaking of unsanctioned pro, you have a guy that's pretty popular in unsanctioned pro who exploded all over Twitter in the last year or so. His name is Danhausen.
Love that Danhausen.
Danhausen. He's very nice and he's very evil. What do you know? I know next to nothing about Danhausen. I just know that he's exploded. He's all over the place. Ring of Honor's been flirting with him lately about signing him, maybe not signing him. And I've seen one of his matches, but he's just taken the world by storm, the internet especially, just all over the place. What do you know about Danhausen?
He is, from what I've seen, because I've been watching some of his YouTube stuff, some of his Twitter stuff. He has got a heavy horror host vibe to him. I mean, not just the makeup and everything like that, but like the videos and stuff that he does, very horror host. If you've ever seen like a horror host or anything like that, we could probably do a whole show on horror hosts, but they're cheesy as fuck.
Yeah, it's Svengoolie.
Yeah. And that completely translates over to the ring, and it's great. He does this whole shtick where tequila will start playing, and he does the Pee Wee Herman dance on the side of the ring while they're like stumbling on the outside of the ring, and whenever they do the whole like he'll kick him, and it's great. But yeah, it's a whole lot of cheese, and he's really athletic too. So it's not just cheese. He's not just relying on cheese to be a good wrestler. He's actually a good wrestler too.
It really seems like that's kind of the formula you need to have now to be successful as a wrestler. It's not the 80s where you have to be 320 pounds and 6'12" and hair on the chest and all that and all this blah blah blah, brother. It seems like now the quirkier guys are getting an opportunity. You got guys like Orange Cassidy, another favorite of mine, a favorite of yours.
Oh yeah,
Orange Cassidy is a wrestler that doesn't really want to be there. He doesn't really want to wrestle. He's kind of lazy. So he puts his hands in his pockets and he kind of just goes through the motions and does the very bare minimum to get over. And the crowd fucking loves him.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy. It is crazy.
He's an amazing man.
One of my favorite matches with him is him and Joey Ryan.
I can't say I've caught that one.
It's pretty funny. Just the whole when he grabs his dick and he does the whole thing and you see him just like react to it. It's great.
Okay, so what he's referring to as grabs his dick and does the whole thing.
I was just going to let it go.
If you haven't heard of Joey Ryan, he was viral almost 5-10 years ago for doing the dick flip. In this instance, a wrestler, we'll call him Joey Ryan, stand in the middle of the ring and make a pose showing his muscles.
Okay.
And the other guy will go to grab him and accidentally somehow grab Joey Ryan's dick.
Okay.
Now, Joey Ryan, being a man of testicular fortitude, will flex his dick, and his dick will grip the man.
I've seen this.
Yes, and then he'll gyrate his pelvis just a little bit to the right, and the man will flip over from the force of his dick. The dick flip.
I've seen this on YouTube somewhere. YouTube or
Did you see just him doing it to one person, or did you see the one where he does it to a whole line of people?
I may have seen both. Like, okay, this is where my memory betrays me, because I've definitely seen the one, and as soon as you brought up the line of people, like, I see it in my head, and I don't know if I'm just making it up or if I have seen it before. But
well, it's definitely something to look up once we get off here. It's he's great, and look up Danhausen too, because Danhausen's great. Love that Danhausen.
So yeah, Joey Ryan and Orange Cassidy. I haven't seen that match. It sounds, I can't imagine it. Yeah, and that's the beauty of wrestling, especially here in 2020. There's a lot of weird stuff out there. Mm-hmm. I say to all people when they say, "Oh, you watch wrestling?" I'm like, "Yeah." Now that stuff's for kids. I'm like, no, it's for everybody now. There's wrestling out there for everybody. There's wrestling for kids. There's a company called Chikara, where the wrestlers are all luchadors. They all wear masks. Some of them are ants. There's crabs. There's crayfish. There's a guy who eats onions. There's just all kinds of characters.
Oh, no. That's not the one. Was that the one that Space Monkey was champion in?
Yes, I believe Space Monkey was their Young Lions Cup champion.
Oh, yes.
21 and under champion.
Yep. That was
so Takara is very kid friendly. I actually brought my son to it once. It was a great time. We got to see a lot of good wrestlers that day. Chikara is an awesome time. But there's wrestling for everybody now. There's a company out there called, oh man, Hood. Do you know what I'm talking about? Damn, it just left my mind. It's Hood Wrestling, like backyard Hood. It's called Hood Slam. So yes, so there's a wrestling company called Hood Slam, which is basically wrestling for the ghetto. Hood Wrestling. Let me see if I can read some of the roster off to you, just to let you know who these guys are. I haven't heard of all of them before. You have HB Ken, which is Ken from Ken and Ryu from Street Fighter. He dresses up like Ken. Batman
Nice.
Cereal Man. You got Cereal Man, who wrestles. His head is a box of cereal. Sensei Joey Nugs, Drugs Bunny, the Glorious Banana. My personal favorite, Pooh Jack. Yes, you heard that right. Pooh Jack, as in New Jack with Winnie the Pooh, Pooh Jack.
Wow.
So if you haven't heard of New Jack's the most dangerous person in the history of wrestling. And I'm not saying because he's a fake wrestler or what. He's just a dangerous human being. There's an entire episode of Dark Side of the Ring that's dedicated just how dangerous this man is. Well, this is Pooh Jack. This is the same thing, but Winnie the Pooh. Fucking weird.
No bother.
Then you got my other favorite, Rick and Scott Stoner, the Stoner Brothers, which is a take on Rick and Scott Steiner, the Steiner Brothers. So Rick Scott and Scott Rick Stoner. Sorry, I said their names wrong. Yeah, that's Hood Slam. So there's wrestling out there for everybody.
So we've brought it all the way to today. Let's go ahead and roll back the clock.
Okay.
Who got you into wrestling? Like where did each of your wrestling, I don't want to say careers, but like your wrestling fandoms, where did that start for you, both of you?
To be honest, I have no idea. My earliest remembrance of wrestling was finding WrestleMania 1. I was about 4 or 5 years old on tape. It was recorded off pay-per-view. I guess at that time would be some kind of closed circuit. I don't know how we got a hand of it. Maybe we got it from another tape. That's the first thing I remember was watching WrestleMania 1 as a Battle Royal. That's it. That's my first memory. I don't know who got the tape. I don't know where the tape came from. I was only 5. I barely remember anything from being 5. But I remember watching that Battle Royal. So it was with WWF. Was the first stuff I started to watch. Instantly, I was hooked on this guy. You may have heard of him. It's about 6'6", 320. His name's Hulk Hogan. I was hooked to that man. That guy intrigued me. And I was just entranced with him. I took my vitamins, I drank my milk and said my prayers. I did the whole 9. And then he betrayed me. But that's another time. We can talk about that.
Brad, how about you? Where did yours start? Where did your wrestling
fandom? My dad. He would watch it and have me watch it with. Well, no, I say have me watch it with him, but I was just with him while we were watching it. So
sure.
Yep. Totally my dad. Yeah, no big story involved there. Just he was watching wrestling, and I would watch it with him.
Sure.
Who was your guy as a kid, Brad? Or Baron?
Junkyard Dog.
Oh, Junkyard Dog.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Yep. Yeah, he was my dude. I had his toys and always loved it when he came on. He was just great. Just great.
Did you watch Hulk Hogan's Rock and Roll Wrestling or whatever it's called?
Was that the
Rock and
cartoon?
Wrestling? Yeah, it was a cartoon.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because Junkyard Dog was in it. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
You had that deep voice, Daddy.
Yeah, he was fucking awesome, man. I liked him. I loved Georgie Animal Steel. Georgie Animal Steel because I didn't like Sergeant Slaughter until he ended up on G.I. Joe.
I could understand that. He was actually a heel for a long time.
Yeah, it was weird with his
Around
little frilly shoes and stuff.
Well, that was in the early '90s when he became a Iraqi sympathizer. Yeah. That was the best. He got bomb threats. He used to get bomb threats and death threats daily.
I have no doubt. Yeah. I mean, the wrestling fans. I'm not saying they're not serious now, but they were fucking serious.
That serious.
people were fucking invested in wrestling back then. They were like, they were in it. They believed it. There was no fakery to that shit. And it's like, people.
It still happens. It's a
Yeah.
lot harder to happen now, but wrestling still can get a good emotion out of you. There's a couple matches recently that really brought that out, brought the emotion out of me. In 2015, there was Sasha Banks versus Bayley in NXT. You know, these ladies told a very good story, and by the end of it, you got really emotional. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who actually wants to watch it. I know it's 5 years old, but you find out what happened during the match, and it kind of kills it. But definitely go out of your way to find that. It's an NXT match in 2015.
I feel the same way, but with Alexa Bliss and her arm trick.
Oh God, yeah, the arm trick. That was horrible.
How dare she make me believe that she was seriously hurt? How dare she?
Yeah, Alexa Bliss can hyperextend her elbow by a couple inches, and it looks really bad.
It did.
Okay, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and say what it said just for the folks at home? Because I'm pretty sure the mics didn't capture it clearly.
You know, I didn't catch the whole thing. It said like bony succubus. It was really weird.
I mean, if Alexa is going to summon a bony succubus, you can send it over here. That's fine.
I don't think she lives too far from you. So.
Oh wait, no, not that one. Not that one.
Okay, so
oh, you mean Alexa Bliss? Yes.
Yeah, she
right.
lives in Hilliard.
Yeah.
What wrestler do you think has the best mic skills? Like who does the best trash talk on the mic? Do you think?
Oh, jeez.
Like what really sticks in your mind when you think about it?
Those are two different things you just asked. Who has the best mic skills? Now, when you ask that, that's who's got the best skills on the microphone to make you want to come see the show. Then you got who's got the best trash talk, which is undoubtedly The Rock.
Oh yeah.
The Rock can talk trash to anybody and just completely take you down and murder you on the spot.
Yeah, I don't even know why Kevin Hart tries anymore, honestly.
Because it's good entertainment.
It is.
Yeah, I think him failing is probably what people want to watch. At this point, he's just failing on purpose. You know what I mean? It's...
America likes a good comeback. Kevin Hart's going to get The Rock once.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that would be my best shit talker is The Rock.
But
yeah,
I
want to talk about just the best guy on the mic. There's a couple different guys that come to mind. One of them being one of Barron's favorites, Mick Foley. Mick Foley's amazing.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that too.
He's so articulate, and he could take you down this path of darkness that you've never been on before, and take you places in just a wrestling promo. And ECW's got a promo called Kane Dewey. I don't know the specific history of this, so I'm just going to kind of wing it. But during a match, there was a fan in the crowd that had a sign that said Kane Dewey during a Cactus Jack match. Cactus Jack, a.k.a. Mick Foley, his son, is named Dewey. So they're saying the Kane Dewey, which is pretty fucked up. So he cuts this promo on how hardcore wrestling is failing him based off Kane Dewey. And it's real gripping stuff. Like Mick Foley was in such a zone in the ECW with his promos. Another guy who was really good, who can cut somebody down to mic, you may have heard of him before. His name is Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette on the mic in a managerial form can do some amazing things and cut you down places in ways that you couldn't even imagine.
You know where his mic skills really excelled?
Where's that?
In a Dairy Queen drive-thru.
In a Dairy Queen drive-thru. Tell that fat bitch.
What an asshole. Oh,
he's got the greatest skills of Dairy Queen, yeah. So yeah, look up Dairy Queen and Jim Cornette for a good laugh.
And to see how much of an asshole this guy really is.
Yeah. If you listen to it, you can hear a real young Chris Jericho egging him on in the background.
Also an asshole.
Also an asshole.
I guarantee you that whole car was drunk too.
All right, so yeah, and my third guy that I pick as one of the best talkers in the history of wrestling would be Jim Ross.
Oh,
Jim Ross is an announcer. He's a commentator, whatever you want to call it. He's also known as a soundtrack to our childhood. If you watched wrestling as a kid, you heard Jim Ross. When you do stupid shit with your friend, you think Jim Ross. When your cat falls down, you think Jim Ross. When anything happens, Jim Ross.
I will say
everything better.
I will say this: he is so good that if he makes a mistake that anybody else would, it's so much more noticeable with him. Like if anybody else messed up something that he's like he did, you wouldn't even notice it. Corey Graves says something and fucks it up, you don't even fucking think of it.
That's because we ignore him.
Right. Jim Ross, if he says a move wrong, you're like, that dumb motherfucker. He said, and we're like, we didn't even know the name of that move. I don't know why we're giving him shit.
Yeah, he's still trying to keep up a little bit. But those are my three talkers right there: the Mick Foley, Jim Cornette, and Jim Ross.
Yeah,
2 Jims.
I will make one addition because those are actually fucking great. Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman, yeah.
Paul Heyman is my addition to that. He is ECW, and now he is Brock Lesnar's voice.
Yeah, but Paul Heyman could talk you into selling them all your clothes.
I think I did once, actually.
For $1.
Yeah. It was weird.
But you were $1 richer.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. And the experience that came with it, priceless. Yeah. Yeah. No, he's amazing. I refuse to believe any of his shit scripted too. I think he just comes out and just goes for it.
Would you believe his dad was a lawyer?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Yeah, true story. He's got an interesting story about him. He's an interesting guy. He started off as a photographer.
Surprised me.
Well, so did Jim Cornette. He started as a photographer as well. Jim Cornette and Paul Heyman. A lot of people think of them as two sides of the same coin. You got Jim Cornette's kind of the more southern Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is the more northern Jim Cornette. They both have similar beginnings and similar paths.
That's not wrong, really. I never even thought about that before.
Wrestling's deep, yo.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, just thinking of that, you saying wrestling's deep, thinking about all of the connections that are in wrestling, all the families that are in wrestling. It's fucking crazy. I mean, just the whole, like, the family that The Rock is from.
Oh yeah, that family is just massive. The NOI family. And
it's all wrestling, all of it.
Yeah, I think they have one guy who's an accountant or something.
Yeah, but he even wrestles in The Office, though, I heard.
Oh yeah, you don't want to have to take him down in The Office.
No, it's rough.
But yeah, there's some great families out there. The Hart family still going. Mm-hmm. You got Natty Neidhart. You got Teddy Hart, kinda. Another family surprising still going. Brad, I'm sure you've heard of these guys from Dallas, coming out of Dallas, Texas. But yeah, the Von Erichs. There's 2 Von Erichs that are still wrestling. I don't remember their names off the top of my head, but they wrestle for MLW down in Florida. MLW being Major League Wrestling, owned by Court Bauer. It's a pretty interesting company. A lot of lucha libre, a lot of American wrestling. You can catch some really strange matches down there. Your dude Mance Warner wrestles down there a lot.
Ooh, Mance Warner.
Yeah. Mr. Light Beers and Lariats.
He's funny. Talk about another guy that's good on the mic.
Yeah, Mance Warner is pretty underrated. He's and I hate to say this because it's going to come out wrong, but he's very much like Stone Cold Jr.-ish, and that's not a bad thing.
No. I mean, the light beers don't help, but
no, but the thing is, that's him. That's not a character. Yeah, that's who he is. He's another Stone Cold kind of guy. Mm-hmm. He's hilarious though. What does it come out to?
Oh shit! You asked me too fast. Free Bird.
No, it's not Free Bird.
No, are you sure? No, you're right. Who
Different
else?
Kind of Man.
Yes. Man. Yeah, I think it's that one. Yeah. It's long though, man, and he fucking exploits that song. Man. He'll
drive me nuts. Back in 2006, Ring of Honor. You used to be able to buy the Ring of Honor DVDs, and the wrestlers come out to pop music. They come out to actual music. And some of those guys would milk this entrance. Bryan Danielson would milk his entrance. It was worth it, but he'd come out to Europe, the final countdown.
Wow.
And you best believe you're going through that synthesizer, and you're going through the whole thing before he comes out.
Mm-hmm. I have a keen appreciation for people that take a really long fucking time to milk their entrances.
You know,
while we're on this topic, that's actually one of the questions I had on my list. What do you think is the best, like, how exactly was this worded? It's basically, what was the best intro? What's the best entrance of all time? And this could be like a regular entrance or even like a one-time thing, like they did a special entrance for an event or something like that, you know, or their regular entrance. Who do you think? Or split them both up. You know what I mean? What's the best regular entrance? What's the best special event entrance that you ever saw?
I will think of the best one, but I also have a worst one. So you should come up with a worst one too. It's probably going to be the same one.
It's going to be the same one. We'll get there.
Okay.
Let's go through the best. All right. So, the best, and I'm going to go with something more contemporary. It was a few years back. Rusev. Everybody loves Rusev, right? This motherfucker came out on a tank.
Oh my God!
WrestleMania. Yeah. And it wasn't like a Jeep with a little howitzer hooked up to it. He came out to a no shit tank on top of the tank with a Russian gimmick, looking real communist. It was awesome. Then he came out and got his ass beat by John Cena.
That's what he did.
But he was still a winner that night because he had a pretty blonde on his shoulder, coming out looking like a communist on a tank.
It was definitely Rusev Day that day.
Yeah, and it was before Rusev Day was around. That might be the very first Rusev Day. That's when I fell in love with the character of Rusev. Was when he came on that tank, you could do no wrong in my eyes.
I don't know how this is going to make me sound, but the day I became a Rusev fan was when he posted that picture of him mowing the lawn.
Oh, yeah, real skimpy.
Yeah. So y'all take that how you want. That was funny.
He's a good-looking man. As far as best regular entrance, that's a good one. You know, there's a lot of just regular entrances that are iconic or just legendary in their own, like the Ultimate Warrior running as fast as possible toward the ring, getting all tired and having a shitty match, then running back. That's a pretty good one. It's really hard for me to narrow one down. I guess I'd have to get real bad and just say The Undertaker. Undertaker's regular entrance is just awesome. You couldn't beat it. You know, some honorable mentions, Shinsuke Nakamura. When he first came around, his first entrances were amazing. Finn Balor. I don't know if you've heard of Finn Balor.
Oh, yeah.
Finn Balor turns into the Demon, and his Demon entrances are pretty good. And this is all more contemporary, newer stuff. Yeah, that's my list there.
All right.
I would say regular entrance for me. For a while, Sting was going through a phase where he kind of rappelled down from the rafters with a baseball bat. And he did that for pretty much every match, expected or unexpected. And I really enjoyed that. And then for special event, I'd either say, and this is after I stopped watching wrestling, but like I saw it on Twitter, somebody came out as Sans from Undertale.
Really?
And,
Kenny Omega.
Yeah, he came out.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you would love Kenny Omega, by the way.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll look up some more of his stuff. But
yeah.
But back when I was watching, there was I feel so stupid for not knowing who I'm talking about. But there was a tag team, and they always did like hardcore tag team matches where basically it was just like whatever you can bring into the ring, you can hit somebody with.
Public Enemy.
Yes, it was Public Enemy. And they had an entrance where they were fighting. They had a match against Disco Inferno and somebody else ridiculous like that. Like, I don't remember who exactly it was, but like it was somebody else that danced a lot and was ridiculous.
Oh, God, that's Alex Wright.
Might have been.
Yeah.
But like
that's Wonder King.
But they brought out at the beginning of the match, because it was supposed to be a hardcore tag team match, Public Enemy brought out 2 wheelbarrows full of stuff. And Disco Inferno gets on the mic and is like, you guys have brought everything to this match. He's like, you might as well bring the kitchen sink. So Public Enemy holds up a finger, leaves, brings back 2 more wheelbarrows full of stuff, including a kitchen sink, which I just thought was awesome.
That's how it's done. Sometimes the best stuff in wrestling is exactly what you expect.
Mm-hmm.
It comes off exactly what you need to see, exactly when you need to see it, and exactly how.
Yep. Yep. Sometimes that can come off as boring, but if it's done right, it's exactly what you needed at the time.
You got to give the crowd what they want.
Yes.
Yep.
Because you get those people that are bitching about giving in to what the crowd wants or giving in to what the fans want. And it's like, you're here because of the fans, right?
Right.
Like you're technically doing a customer service job, and you're going to give us what we want.
You could only tease the fans so much until they get bored.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that happened in WCW is they kept giving the fans stuff that they wanted to see, and it didn't quite work out, and it just fell apart.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So I guess my entrances. We're gonna go all like just the regular entrances. My favorite would have to be Sandman, ECW. We were talking about my favorite people are the ones that milked their fucking entrance song. This man would take forever to get to the ring coming out to Metallica's Sandman. And the whole time he's coming through the crowd to do it. And he would
drinking beer.
Oh, yeah. He would stop, bust open a beer, drink it, smash it on his head. He would be bloody before he got to the ring.
And drunk.
And drunk. Because he didn't drink it like Stone Cold would drink his.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, he would drink the beer.
Mm-hmm. I think
Sandman wasn't wasting alcohol.
Oh, yeah. And I think that there was like a couple times where, a random 13-year-old kid would also be a little drunk because he would pour it out around him and people would catch it in their mouths.
Maybe on him, yeah.
Yeah. And then my favorite one-time like special event would have to be Titus O'Neil.
Oh, that's not fair.
Hey, you know what? He leaned into it, and that's the only reason why I'm picking this. I wouldn't normally pick it, but he leaned into it. I mean, I don't mean the entrance. I mean after the entrance.
Yeah,
really
unintended. Gotcha.
What was this? I'm lost here. So
Titus O'Neil, God love him. They were doing this show in Saudi Arabia, which I fucking hate. I fucking hate that show. I hope they never do anything there again. Guild decree. I'll say that right now. I hope that they should never do shows there. And he's running out. I think it was a battle royal, wasn't it?
It was the greatest Royal Rumble, I believe.
Oh my god,
is what they called it. Something to that effect. It was some silly ass name like that.
So fucking dumb. Anyways, he's running out to the ring. He trips and slides all the way under the ring. I mean, it wasn't like he just tripped and his head went under the ring or his hand slid under. No, he slid all the way under the ring. Jeez. I don't understand the physics behind that. But yeah, he completely disappeared.
His feet disappeared. Like you saw his little toes go under and they're gone. He was gone.
The announcer.
Like if you walked in the room at the right moment, you'd be like, "Why are you looking at the empty ring?"
Yep. That's exactly what it looked like. It's like nothing.
Wow.
The announcers were laughing. And I felt horrible for him at first. I felt horrible, and like the announcers were laughing at him. I'm like, man, motherfuckers, it's like he didn't mean to do that shit. But then after that whole show, he like leaned into it. He's just like he's owning that shit. I'm like, you know what? I gotta respect that. So yeah, it was funny.
So let me guess your worst entrance.
you might be right, and you know what? You may actually, if it's not what I'm thinking of, you may even convince me that this might be it. But go ahead.
All right, so let me sell you this scene. It's WrestleMania, big match.
We're on the right track.
WWE Championship, okay, and there's a sperm. And it's on the walkway, and the walkway is about a good 300 feet. It's about 100 yards from the walkway to the ring. I might be exaggerating. It might be less, might be more. Either way, it's a long way.
Long way.
And the sperm kind of wiggles back and forth. And as you walk, the sperm follows you. So here comes Randy Orton, the Viper, big, brown, greasy dude, walking to the ring with this little sperm following him the entire way. The sperm's supposed to be a snake, but the tail of the snake is way too small to be a normal snake. Only a sperm could look like that. So here he goes walking to the ring with the sperm following him the whole way, and he's walking real slow, and it's real bad.
He's very proud of this sperm.
Did I guess correctly?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
It also the sperm moment also preceded one of the worst matches I've ever
Oh
seen.
my god, it was fucking horrible.
It was between Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton for the WWE Championship, and for some reason they decided to put these theatrics in there that made no sense. So they're wrestling, and then worms appeared on the mat, being projected from above. Yeah, worms. Okay. And then it happened again. It was some other kind of bug or some other fucking SpaghettiOs or something. I can't remember what it was. It was stupid. That's all I remember.
It was a waste of time, really. And I feel bad for Bray Wyatt because this guy can't seem to catch a fucking break.
Wrestling is a really weird thing. When it's really good, it's amazing and one of the best forms of entertainment you can watch. But when it's really bad, oh, it's fucking horrible.
Horrible. Really, yeah.
And when it's so bad it's funny, it's hilarious. Wrestling is totally polarizing on every form, every spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Just constantly walking that line.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, speaking of walking that line, and Bray Wyatt, he walked that line again, and at was it the most recent WrestleMania? Was that the one he was in? Anyways, the last big match that he was in, it was that cinematic match with John Cena.
Yes, that was
that
was silly.
It was again walking that line, but for me, it was like, okay, I can get behind this. I enjoyed that match. It wasn't much of a match, but I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it for what it was. Of all the cinematic matches that have been coming around. So what we mean by cinematic match, for those of you out there that are a little confused by it, since COVID-19 went down and people aren't able to go to live shows anymore, to keep wrestling relevant, because wrestling lives and breathes and dies off the live experience, they've been doing more like fight scenes you would see in a movie. So when we say a cinematic match, we mean exactly what that is. These are two guys that are fighting each other, but it's more like a movie than a wrestling match. So the cameras are following them around. They're moving. They're going in the rooms. They got props. You could tell it's something that's produced, that's directed. It's a lot different than what you normally see when you see wrestling in the ring or wrestling backstage or something to that effect. That's cinematic wrestling.
Yeah.
It's something WWE's been experimenting with. AEW's been experimenting with. There's been a couple indie companies that have done some really interesting wrestling during this time where there's no fans. There's a social distancing match that needs to be seen. There's all kinds of stuff that's been going around. But the cinematic matches have been something pretty special lately.
You know, actually, given the circumstances of the whole crisis, I was expecting to see more matches between the Invisible Man and Invisible Stan.
Well, last I heard they were in Japan, so they might have gotten trapped there.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So there's not much you can do about that. The Invisible Man and Stan are trapped in Japan.
I hope they're okay.
They inadvertently didn't mean that to rhyme, but so yeah, the cinematic matches. Which one were you bringing up?
Oh, I was talking about the Bray Wyatt one. Wow, why was that so hard to say? Anyways, I think I was going to mention that it was going on well before this, but I would like to think that Matt Hardy really brought it to everybody's attention.
Yeah, Matt Hardy really laid the modern blueprint for how a cinematic match goes. There have been cinematic matches in the past. Some of the ones that come to mind, the Boiler Room Brawl between Undertaker and Mankind. Maybe as far back as Jerry the King Lawler and Terry Funk, empty arena match. I think that is in 1980 or 82. Can't quote me on that one. That one's famous for Terry Funk getting his eye ripped out and screaming, "Oh, my eye!" Oh, I love Terry Funk. You know, those are the first real cinematic matches that come to mind. But Matt Hardy, with his Broken Universe in TNA, really made it his own thing. He actually has had one recently in AEW. It wasn't quite a Matt Hardy match, but there were some Matt Hardy elements involved in the match. It was a stadium stampede match. It was good stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoy what he's bringing to the table.
A lot of people. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that him doing what he did in TNA was, for me, a huge indicator that really wrestling organizations should give a little more control to their wrestlers.
They should give all the control.
Yeah, because it seems like WWE doesn't give their wrestlers enough control at all.
No, and it's obvious when you see somebody like Dean Ambrose, who's in WWE for all these years, leaves the WWE, joins another company called AEW, changes his name to John Moxley, and he's a whole different character. Totally different guy. He's refreshed. He's being himself, and it's obvious. And when you're being yourself and you're being authentic, wrestling fans know that, and they hook onto it because that's what they want. They don't want, forgive me for saying this, I love me some John Cena, but they don't want John Cena, that fake baby face, big old smile and everything's hunky-dory and cookies and fucking milk and shit. They want somebody who's themselves, that's got shades of gray.
Yeah, exactly.
So giving the wrestlers permission to write their own material, let Matt Hardy go crazy with his Hardy compound and Brother Nero and Broken Matt Hardy and the rest of the cast of characters that grows, the dilapidated boat, the Lake of Reincarnation. Yeah, this is starting to sound more D&D like, isn't it? Not that I know. I don't know anything about D&D.
No, you're right. You're right.
There should be a Lake of Reincarnation now.
I mean, there probably is. I mean, if you think about it, there's a Lake of Reincarnation in Batman, so
it's kind of a lake. It's a lake. It's lake enough, lake-ish.
Lake adjacent. Yeah.
It's more like a pond.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
A pit, if you will.
A pit, as it were.
Yeah. So Matt Hardy's done some amazing things. Really rejuvenated his career because he's in the twilight of his career. In the last 5 years, he's still been on the tip of your tongue. He's still somebody we talk about. I mean, if you would have told me 10 years ago you're still talking about Matt Hardy, I wouldn't believe it.
Which good for him, because there for like the longest time he was arguably the less favorite Hardy boy.
Oh, there's no argument. I can't imagine anybody. It's like saying, yeah, Marty Jannetty was like, better than Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
That's a real hipster thing to say. Yeah, Matt Hardy, he's got better character progression.
So
at that time, Jeff Hardy was the star.
Yeah, if you would have told me back in the early 2000s that Matt Hardy was going to be the more popular brother eventually, I probably wouldn't have believed it at all.
No, not one bit.
Nope.
So, who is a face that you wish would turn heel and a heel that you wish would turn face?
John Cena.
Yep.
John Cena.
Yeah, I'm with him on that one, 100%.
He'd been a face for so long, and I know he can do heel. He's done it before, and he was great. Back when he was the rapper, he started off as a heel. He was edgy. He was so edgy and cool, they turned him face, and they never looked back. So John Cena, I'd love to see him turn heel. Never going to happen, not in a million years. Well, I shouldn't say that. Hulk Hogan turned heel.
Oh, and they did it to Sasha Banks. Oh, not Sasha Banks. Bailey. I was not ready for her to turn heel.
Don't get me started. You got there's a crop of guys in WWE right now. One of them is Sami Zayn. You got Sasha, now you got me saying it. You got Bailey. You got a woman down in NXT who goes by Dakota Kai, and another woman who is Candice LeRae. It's 4 of them. These 4 are the most likable people on earth. Super likable. They're all heels.
I don't get it.
And it makes no sense. Like Sami Zayn is the best underdog you can find, but they got him as a bad guy.
I mean, especially Bailey, though. Bailey, really. I mean, the only thing I can think of is Bailey is just like, you know what? I'm tired of it, and I want to be a heel. And I can totally get that. It's like, if you're just tired of doing the whole huggy thing, then sure. But she was, I mean, huge as a face. Huge.
When she got off the run in NXT and went to WWE, it was a no-brainer. They killed her character.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's so many more ways they could have gone with that character. There's so many more ways they could still go with that character. Just, make her face again and see what see what you come up with. Yeah. I don't know. Weird.
So heels I want to see turn face. See, that's a harder one because I'm an internet wrestling fan. I like the heels. The faces are the boring ones. The heels are the ones that have different layers to them. Man, who do I want to see turn heel? Face or heel. Who would I want to see turn face? I'm going to go with a weird pick from New Japan Pro Wrestling, Switchblade Jay White. Jay White is a weird heel. They call him the Kylo Ren of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Wow. I know exactly who you're talking about now.
Yeah, he's kind of
just you saying that. Yeah.
He's from Australia or New Zealand. I can't remember which one, but he seems like he'd make a much better baby face than he would as a heel. And he was a baby face before when he was doing his excursion from New Japan and Ring of Honor, and he was a pretty good baby face working with Alex Shelley. And they turned him heel and made him a big villain in New Japan, and it doesn't seem to fit him.
Okay. I can't think of a single person who is heel that I would like to see go face.
What about Chris Jericho in AEW? Do you think that's something they're going to have to do eventually? Is turn Jericho babyface?
I think, depending on what they do with the rest of the roster, I think that may be a thing, because I mean, right now, I think that they feel like they don't have a strong enough personality to go up against the Elite. So that's why they have Chris Jericho there. And he is there specifically to go up against the Elite.
He's a fantastic asshole.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh, yes. Be completely relevant. Chris Jericho is definitely a strong personality, and it's something that I think that the Elite needs. He can never wrestle again, and just off of force of personality, be completely relevant in any wrestling organization, probably for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he can do anything.
Yeah. It's like, and I'm not even saying, like, become a manager. Keep him as a wrestling personality. Never have him wrestle. Yeah. Like, he'll get in the ring, he'll stand there for a little while, maybe fake a punch, and then just be like, yeah, I'll see you. He'll point at the WrestleMania sign and get out.
You know, you say that. He did that. He did that. He disappeared. Chris Jericho comes in waves. He comes by, hangs out for a year and leaves. Comes by for a year. One of the times he did that, he comes down to the ring. He's pointing, he's smiling, he's slapping people's hands, he's shaking babies and kissing wives. He's going down. He gets into the ring. He points to the crowd. He takes his jacket off and he walks back out.
Oh my gosh. I remember that.
I remember that.
Yeah. That is a thing that happened.
Yep. And that was it. That was his little gimmick for a couple weeks. He'd come out and smile and shake babies and kiss people and go back to the ring and go backstage.
Yep. Beautiful, though. It's beautiful when you can do that.
It is. It really is. Chris Jericho is amazing, man.
Yeah. Yep. I'm not 100% sure I would like him in real life, but yeah.
No, he's I don't think I care for his politics too much.
Oh, I guess I try not to delve into the wrestlers' politics because I know I'm going to be sorely disappointed. What's his name? Braun Strowman really fucking disappointed me.
Yeah, that just comes with celebrity. I try not to, but occasionally it happens, like Braun Strowman with you, Chris Jericho with me.
Right.
I prefer like the Bucks. I have no idea what their politics are, and that's awesome.
Yep.
So I guess now is as good as time to dig into that Jim Cornette.
Let's do it!
All right.
Fuck Jim Cornette! Oh, I'm sorry. Wow. Sorry, I jumped right into that, didn't I?
Okay, so go ahead and start from the beginning here, because I don't even know this name. So,
oh, you do. You just, well, no. I guess given the time you jumped into wrestling, you may not, actually. So, all right. You know what? Go ahead, Billy. You got this.
All right. Jim Cornette was born at some point that I don't know. His short biography is he's an amazing manager. So Jim Cornette managed the Midnight Express for however many years for WCW and the NWA. He's bounced around companies for a while. He had his own company called Smoky Mountain Wrestling that he partnership with Rick Rubin to create down in Louisville, Kentucky. I want to say he was in Louisville. He ran that promotion for about 4 years until it folded. He worked with WWE, WWF for a long time until he got fired and then dropped down to their developmental territory, where he worked for them for a while until he smacked the shit out of Santino Marella. Then he got fired from there. He's worked everywhere. He's done everything as a wrestling personality, a manager. He's been an announcer. He's been a photographer. He's written wrestling. He's produced it. He's done everything to do with wrestling. He is probably the walking encyclopedia of wrestling, 2000 and back.
Okay. So what is it you guys don't like about him so much then?
He's got man yelling at cloud syndrome.
Gotcha.
Anything new that doesn't conform to his ways back in the 70s and 80s is shit.
He just hates it, yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that words cannot do this man justice. You have to hear him and experience him to just know what pure vitriol is. He spits hot fire, and it's just the most disgusting thing. The stuff that he says. In many ways, he is the Rush Limbaugh of wrestling.
Oh, geez.
Now wait. Because he is the Rush Limbaugh of wrestling and only wrestling, that is the only comparison you could make. He is not the Rush Limbaugh of his politics. No, Jim Cornette is a big liberal. But for some reason, when it comes to wrestling, he's a huge conservative, big time. So much that he sounds like an old Southern wrestler, down to his Kentucky accent.
Yeah.
He is an enigma of a man.
And a man of an enigma. Wait, that doesn't work.
Yeah, I guess it's really hard to put Jim Cornette into words.
Yeah. I know I realized really quick that a lot of the wrestling that I like nowadays is shit that he would hate.
Oh, yeah.
Just hate.
He's a fundamentalist.
Yeah. If anybody's ankles go above their head, he fucking hates it.
Which is really ironic because he used to write for TNA and Ring of Honor for a while too. Yeah, he's attempted to be more contemporary, and it just never works out for him. And he puts his fucking foot in his mouth all the time because he accidentally says racist shit.
Yeah, wow. And I will say this, and this isn't not an excuse by any means at all, but him being from the big 80s wrestling era when the low-hanging fruit was racism.
Yeah,
I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
No, he had a Nazi wrestler down in Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Fuck.
I don't remember his name. He had a terrible name. It was something like The Final Solution was the name of the wrestler.
Wow.
But then you hear some stories about New Jack. New Jack was discovered by Jim Cornette, if that makes any sense.
No.
Yeah. Jim Cornette ran into New Jack, said, oh, wow, this guy's got a presence about him, which he does. He's got great mic skills, which he does. We can do something and make money with him, which you can. So he paired him up with Mustafa and created the Gangstas. And the Gangstas used to run down in Smoky Mountain Wrestling in Louisville, in that area. That's perfect. Two black guys from the ghetto talking about white folk.
Yeah.
That is perfect for that area. Jim Cornette found New Jack, and he was good friends with New Jack. It's weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's weird. They're all buddy. Personally, I'm afraid of New Jack. I don't want to be his buddy. I want to stay away from him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did he kill a guy? No, he stabbed a guy.
Yeah, he stabbed a guy. He might have killed a guy. Well, according to him, he's got one justifiable homicide.
Oh, well, yeah, that is justifiables don't count.
That's what anybody would do in that situation.
That's why it's justifiable, right?
Exactly. So who do you think would win in a fight, him or Ming?
That depends. Is it a regular wrestling match?
Ooh, what do you mean?
Like a regular match, no foreign objects or?
No, I meant in real life.
Oh, in real life, like a straight up fight?
Yeah.
I think I got Ming.
All right. I was trying to put New Jack on a scale of dangerous.
Now, is Ming drunk?
Oh.
If Ming's drunk, it's him.
It's Ming?
Oh, yeah, if he's drunk.
Is he like the literal drunken warrior?
Yeah, I put him against anybody drunk.
Nice.
Francis Ngannou, I go with Ming, drunk.
Well, hold on. Ming drunk, New Jack sober.
I don't think that happens.
Oh, okay, fair.
That's like dividing by zero. What are you doing?
Oh, man.
All right.
What?
So just kind of returning to my list here. Who do you think is the most overrated and the most underrated?
Oh, man.
Man, it's just so many caveats you could put on that. Like underrated ring work or underrated on the mic, total package, overall.
I'm going to jump in with my overrated right now, Brock Lesnar.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I just hurt so many feelings out there, but I'm sticking with it. I'm not saying he's bad, but I think that he is way, way more overrated. Like the WWE is blowing him way out of proportion.
Okay. If we're talking WWE and something more modern, I would say Baron Corbin is overrated.
Oh my God, you're right. I want to change my vote. I'm staying. I'm staying. Damn it. That's a good one.
Baron Corbin, who wrestled like a bartender for like a year. He wrestled looking like a bartender. It was terrible. Now he's a king. He's got a cool crown though. Yeah, so he's overrated. So underrated guy. Who do you got for underrated? I know who you got for underrated. You want me to pick for you?
Sure.
Dolph Ziggler.
Oh yeah. That poor guy. I really, really like Dolph Ziggler, and he is. Oh my gosh, he's just getting shit on his whole career. He's so amazing. He'll take a punch and he'll sell that shit like he just died. Like that punch made it look like he just got the back of his head caved in. It's crazy. And yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't have the mic skills to back up everything, but I still think that even then he should still be able to give him Paul Heyman.
No. No, there's something about Dolph it's missing. He's missing something. And I don't think it's the it that he's missing. He's missing something else. You know, the it factor. I think he has that. But he's missing something. You know, it's really hard. He's got everything you need to be a star. I think okay, you know what it is? His promos come off fake. He sounds fake. And he doesn't sound genuine. You can't buy what he's saying. If he's coming out and he's going, I'm going to kick this guy's ass because the sky is blue, you're going to be like, but is it blue?
Is it, though?
Dolph said it's blue. I'm not sure anymore. It could be green.
Oh, my gosh. Still, though. Oh, man.
So my underrated guy is, you may have heard of him. His name is Chad Gable.
Yes.
They killed him.
They did, yeah.
They killed him as a character.
Mm-hmm.
They changed his name to Shorty G. Chad Gable, he's an Olympic wrestler, like legit amateur wrestler in the Olympics. He's not very tall, but he can wrestle. He's real good. He's got real good ground game. He's got that it factor. He's a star. He can talk. He can do it all, but he's short. So WWE doesn't really know what to do with him. So they gave him the name Shorty G and made fun of him and then threw him away. And I haven't seen him since. It's been months.
I'm surprised he wasn't one of the ones that were let go recently.
You know, they would have fucked up real bad to let him go because he could walk on anything and do whatever he wants.
I just really think that they fucked up a lot anyways.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I don't watch much WWE anymore. I'll catch the big shows like this last show, Money in the Bank. One of the best pay-per-views they've had in years because it was only 2.5 hours long. I don't know if you remember that. 2.5 hours, we were raving and ranting about how amazing it was. When really, it wasn't that good. It was just short. You know, they kept suffering to a minimum.
I think that's what it was. It's like WWE is pumping out these 3-4 hour shows, and it's like just let it die. Just let it end. Let us enjoy what we saw, and don't fucking pack us full of bullshit.
Yeah, there's so much bullshit that by the time you get to the main event, you're like, hurry up, I'm trying to go to sleep.
Yep. You know, they do their shit on Sundays too, so it's just like, we have work tomorrow. Well, I don't, but you know, normal people have work tomorrow. Oh my gosh, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
2 hours ago was great. Oh yeah, Chad Gable. Oh man, and he was the guy with Shelton Benjamin, wasn't he?
He was with Shelton for a little while. Before that, he was with Jason Jordan.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The guy that was Kurt Angle's son, I say with air quotes.
Right. And that's another thing, too. I thought the WWE was done with storylines like that. Like, seriously.
It was a good throwback for a second, but yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, yeah. That was straight fucking, I was waiting for someone to give birth to a hand. Like, seriously.
Did you ever see the hand? He came back. It was a full-grown hand.
I did. Oh my god!
Let that go with no context.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, move on from the hand.
Yeah.
Poor Rick. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Nope. Just let's just leave it.
An octogenarian gave birth to a hand.
Back to my list here. What's your favorite faction?
Oh God, you don't ask easy questions like what's your favorite shade of blue?
Hey, I just learned of a new shade of blue last night. Anyways, go ahead.
My favorite faction. Whew.
And subsequently,
Nation of Domination.
faction.
Oh.
My favorite would be Nation of Domination.
Ooh,
Late 90s. That's where The Rock came from. Farouk, D'Lo Brown, and Mark Henry. That would be my favorite iteration of them. Nation of Domination. They were awesome. I liked them because they kicked ass. They did what they had to do, and they left.
It's back when The Rock was calling everybody jabroni.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is back when he wasn't quite The Rock yet.
Oh yeah, he was like transitioning into.
Yeah, he wanted to be called The Rock, and everybody was still calling him Rocky Maivia.
Right, right. Oh my gosh, that's great.
Now the worst. What would be the worst? I'm gonna think about that for a minute.
Okay, I'll go on with my favorite then. I will have to say, and I may need some backup on this one.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go with the Ministry.
Oh, that's a weird one.
But when they had the Hardy Boys in it. Oh fuck
That
no.
was brief.
Yeah, I'm going. No. Well, didn't the Hardy Boys? Didn't the Brood go to the Ministry?
Okay, so the Ministry had the Brood in there when there was Edge and Christian and Gangrel.
Okay.
I don't know if they were part of the Ministry when Matt and Jeff became part of the Brood. The timeline's in my head. I don't see it. I don't know.
Gotcha. But anyways, that whole era of the super stables that the WWE was doing, I fucking loved it. Loved it. But I loved the Ministry before they became the corporate Ministry.
It was me, Austin.
Oh my god. Oh man. But yeah, the Ministry was just great. I think that was even the Undertaker at my most favorite.
The super gothic Undertaker with the tears.
Oh my god, he was great. He was great. I mean, I like the Undertaker when he was, the wearing the hat, coming out with Paul Bearer and everything like that. But I think that he really, really got to excel as a personality for me when he became the head of his stable, and it was great. I love the characters that came out of that, and you know what? Even if they weren't in it, I'm going to lump the Brood in there with them because I really love the Brood.
Had the greatest music.
Oh my gosh. And really, and then the Hardy Boys, didn't they take over in the Brood from Matt and Jeff?
Yeah, for a little while.
Yeah, good Lord. Edge and
Christian. Yeah, for a little while.
Yeah, I think, and that was my favorite incarnation of the Hardy Boys, was the Brood Hardy Boys.
Didn't feel Lita too much?
I mean, gosh, for fuck's sake, Lita. Yeah.
So, keeping in the same kind of time period, the worst faction. Oh no, I just thought of another one. Damn it! All right, so there's two worst factions. One is most disappointing was Los Boricuas. Because I'm Puerto Rican and these were supposed to be my guys, and they sucked. With the exception of Savio Vega. Savio Vega was awesome, but the rest of them sucked. And there was a short-lived faction out there called the Union. I don't know if you remember the Union. They were up against the Corporation. The Union was the Big Show and Mick Foley.
Yep.
And I think Hardcore Holly. It was horrible.
It was bad. Oh my gosh, yeah.
I don't remember who else is in it. I might just add random people. Crash Holly, Luna Visan. I'm just making shit up now. It was a pretty bad group though. But the Boricuas really let me down. Here they are, four big, burly, hairy Puerto Ricans, and I'm like, yeah, these guys are gonna rule. And Savio Vega is the only one that's okay, and the rest of them are just kind of there.
You know what? I'm going to say that, and it's going to fall in with, it's going to go back to one of my favorites, but it's also one of the worst ones, only because it's kind of their job. But the Job Squad.
Aww.
It's kind of cheating because it was kind of
like so sweet. They're so cute.
And in fact, actually, one of my favorite wrestlers was the leader of that. It was Al Snow. He was one of my favorite wrestlers. It helps that he's from Ohio, which I'm noticing there's a whole shit ton of people from Ohio lately.
Yeah, if we're gonna get into state wrestling battle, Ohio's doing all right.
Yeah.
Pro wrestling battle.
Right. Yeah. 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 I was doing pretty good.
Yeah, Job Squad. That's a good one. Now, is that with Too Cold Scorpio?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I like Too Cold Scorpio. And I'll tell you, I wasn't a huge fan of him in the WWEF, whatever it was at the time. But man, I went and watched him in ECW. I didn't realize he was a thing. And I'm like, oh, this joke's in here. And I saw him wrestle in ECW. I'm like, who the fuck is this? It's like he was a completely different guy in the ECW.
Who was that, Al?
Too Cold Scorpio.
Oh, Scorpio. Yeah. You
Yeah.
should see him in WCW.
Oh, really? I didn't fucking know he was in there.
Yeah, he had some great matches in WCW. He even had a music video. It was pretty bad. It was pretty much him walking through the ghetto. I guess it'll be remiss of us to not talk about some of the other great factions. We didn't mention the Four Horsemen.
Oh, yeah. That almost
we
be
kind
like
of skipped
cheating,
over
though,
it.
right?
Yeah, it's basically what laid the groundwork for factions of the Four Horsemen, the original Horsemen. Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, and Ric Flair, and J.J. Dillon.
Yep.
That is the faction.
And that's another reason why I almost didn't even want to mention NWO. And it seems like it would have been cheating to say NWO.
Well, yeah, there was only like 6 NWOs.
Yeah.
I hated. Like that's back when I was watching wrestling. And let me tell you, like as a short time wrestling fan, I hated NWO. And like it was just because there was the NWO, and then there was NWO Black, and then there was NWO Red, and then you had the OWN, and like the entire story of everything that was going on got completely dominated by NWO. There was like nothing that was going on that didn't have something to do with NWO at the time.
So you caught the OWN. That's a tiny window of wrestling you caught, where the Ultimate Warrior came to WCW to wreak havoc with the One Warrior Nation brother.
Yeah.
Oh, such terrible wrestle crap.
Yeah, I hated it.
Yeah, that was a bad time. I'm sorry. You definitely deserve a gift basket for watching that.
That was definitely a time when like we'd sit down and we were watching both WCW and WWF, and that was definitely a time when we preferred WWF over WCW.
I remember watching. Okay, so back then, I was living with a buddy, and we would have friends over, and we would have WWF on one TV and WCW on the other TV, and we would watch one, and then we would flip over to WCW on the main TV. But when we were watching something main on WWF was the main TV, someone would run to the other room, see what was going on in WCW to see if we needed to switch over. And we had it on there, and I was in the room watching for the WCW opening thing, and they were in there waiting for WWF, and fucking Vince McMahon popped on the screen, and I'm just like, am I on the right fucking channel? Like, legit, I was just like, what the fuck's going on? And then he goes into the whole, oh yeah, we bought the WCW. I'm like, what the fuck? That was fucking huge. It was great. Didn't realize that it'd be, huh?
I missed that. I never saw that.
It was crazy.
I was in the Navy doing Navy stuff at the time. It was a couple weeks after that is when I caught it. Wrestling was on at a friend's house, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, what are these WCW guys doing here? What happened? And then Rob Van Dam popped out of nowhere with Tommy Dreamer and Taz, and I was just totally confused that what had went down. It seemed everything had come together.
They didn't waste any time buying up ECW, did they?
No, it was pennies from the dollar. I mean, they bought WCW for, I think, $2 million, something ridiculous like that.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, like enough money where if you had some investors, you would have thought about making it happen.
Yeah. Wow. It's kind of hard to think. It's like, how do you fuck up something like that? It's like, how do you run a company like that into the ground?
There's books written on it. WCW is an interesting case study of how to fuck up a winning formula.
Yeah, they had people. They had the people to make it work.
They had the people to make it work, but they didn't have the leadership.
And I will say that as fun as it was watching it that night, as crazy as it was seeing Vince McMahon pop up on that screen, I still think that was one of the worst things to happen to wrestling.
It was. for a long time, WWE sucked for the longest time because they had no competition.
Yeah.
Then they did the brand split where they created their own competition, and all it did was water down wrestling even more.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of good things that came out of the brand split. Like it allowed more breathing room for guys that are bigger stars to shine more. You got more guys like Chris Benoit were able to come to the top of the card. Randy Orton, Batista, these guys were allowed to come to the top of the card, where if it was just one brand, you would have John Cena dominating. It was a good business move, but overall it watered everything down.
Yes. Yeah. That whole thing. I'm glad that the AEW is a thing now because I think it's making things better.
Well, AEW is a hell of a lot easier to watch. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. It's funny too because it's like once they did the whole clearing out of the crowd and doing the empty arena shows,
right?
It really showed the class of entertainers that each company has on their roster, because you watch WWE, they have no clue what to do, no clue. They don't know where the fucking camera is, and they are doing random things like there's people still in the crowd, and it's like, okay, sure. And then AEW, they know that they have an empty fucking crowd. They play up to the camera, and it's like they're not even fucking around. They're just playing up to the camera, and then they'll even bring in some of their own wrestlers to stand out in the crowd just so that they can talk. Oh my god, yes. It's like I kind of want that from now on. It's like fuck the fans, just let the wrestlers stand out there and watch the fucking show. Oh man.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good experience. In Japan, there's a couple companies that are still going. All Japan and Pro Wrestling Noah are still going out there, and I believe it was All Japan kind of fell into that same pattern of using extra wrestlers to be part of the crowd. What they did is they have extras. They have guys that come to the ring with them. They're seconds, and their seconds will be their cheerleaders on the corners for the wrestling matches, and they're supplementing that crowd noise that's not there. It's working out great. Whereas in Pro Wrestling Noah, it's just an empty stand. Speaking of Pro Wrestling Noah, they had a match. Hold on here. Let me get these names right, because the only one I remember is Go Shiozaki, and I don't remember the other guy's name, and it's important because they had an hour-long match.
Jeez.
Oh no, you haven't heard nothing yet. Let's see. Yeah, it was Vegeta. All right, so in Pro Wrestling Noah,
it's pronounced fajita.
No, it's Vegeta.
Oh, okay.
All right, put some respect on Vegeta's name. It's Go Shiozaki versus Kazuyuki Fujita for the GHC Heavyweight Championship. The story is Fujita has been mocking Shiozaki for some time. He is mocking the way of Pro Wrestling Noah. This is very Japanese, very saving face, very imperial kind of feeling. And Shiozaki is not going to put up with it. He's going to draw a line in the sand, and Fujita's going to have to cross this line if they're going to battle. So what they do is they start the match, and they stare at each other. And they're staring at each other, eye to eye. They're looking, they're sweating, they're thinking about their next move. 5 minutes passes. 10 minutes passes. They pace around each other and switch spots. 15 minutes passes. 20 minutes passes. One of them moves a little bit closer. 25 minutes passes. 30 minutes passes, and they finally lock up. And then after that, they have a regular match for another half hour. It is the most epic thing you can ever see in wrestling, but you can only watch it once, because after that becomes prime sleeping time.
Yeah, right.
I watched it that first time cold. I had no idea that was going to happen. And I'm watching like, when are these guys going to fucking lock up? Nothing happens. Nothing happens. After the first 10 minutes, you think an hour has passed, but it hasn't. It's only been 10 minutes. You realize about halfway through that standing around for 30 minutes, you're wrestling the match. The wrestlers aren't wrestling themselves. You're wrestling them. They're killing you with this. And you got to survive this to get to the end of it. And then when you get to the end of it and they start wrestling, you start getting into it because you're part of this match now. You just survived staring at these motherfuckers for 30 goddamn minutes. You're sweating. They're sweating. Everyone's sweating. Everyone smells like ass. This match is now a match of endurance. It's amazing. Wrestling is such a strange art form.
Yes. But yeah, I totally appreciate every single bit of it.
But yeah, put some respect on Fujita's name.
I will, and yeah, I lost my train of thought where I was going to go with that.
It's okay. This match is intimidating.
So let's bring it back to something a little less intense. Who do you think's got the best ring gear?
Ooh, ring gear, best ring gear. I've always been drawn to simplicity. You know, Ric Flair, nice robe, pair of drawers with RF on it, boots with RF on it, good to go. It's classic.
I didn't think that I would go back to the late '80s stuff that I like, but I'm gonna say the Bucks. They've got those fringes and yeah. I didn't think that I'd be a big fan of that, but they rock it.
They got the tights with their faces on them.
Yeah. Well, and honorable mention goes out to Rob Van Dam.
Oh yeah, with all the airbrush tights.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Rhino.
Oh yeah.
I would swear they had the same artist.
Don't they?
I have no idea.
I think Rob Van Dam's wife does his.
Ooh.
I think.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
He still wrestles. He wrestles on Impact. I don't get to see him very often though.
Yeah, I don't get to watch a lot of Impact wrestling. I'm sure he does okay.
Yeah, he's all right. He's still Rob Van Dam.
Yeah. He was revolutionary back in the day. I remember one big slap in the face WWE gave ECW. The ECW pay-per-views, they would film them, but they wouldn't air until later. And then WWE was always live. So the ECW pay-per-view hadn't filmed yet, and in the ECW show, Rob Van Dam did the first coast-to-coast drop kick. So like from one turnbuckle to another.
Van Terminator?
Is that it?
I think it's the Van Terminator.
The Van Daminator is the one where he just stands there and does it, right?
That's when he throws a chair at you and he hits you in the face with the chair.
I fucking love the names that ECW came up with for shit like that. But yeah, Van Terminator, I think. Is one where he jumped from one turnbuckle to the other and the dude had a chair propped up on his face.
Yep, so, it's the Van Terminator. I'm actually watching it right now.
Yeah,
yeah, it's the Van Terminator.
So, but it hadn't aired yet. So when WWE did their pay-per-view, Shane McMahon did it.
Oh, that just kills it.
No.
Yeah.
Shane I never heard that.
Yep. Because we watched it and then
that's dirty.
We watched the ECW show after that and we're like, what? This would have been way awesome if we would have seen this one first.
Oh man.
That's so dirty.
Yeah, WWE is fucking dirty with shit like that.
Oh, they really are. Ruthless.
Yeah. Yep. They don't give a fuck.
Oh man. I've never heard that before. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
To have Shane McMahon steal your move. I mean, it's different if a wrestler steals your move, but fucking Shane. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Shane. Shane McMahon is quite the performer. I'll give him that. He's not a wrestler. And he'll tell you that. He's not a wrestler. He's a performer. He excels at what he does.
Yeah. But yeah, that was definitely that was definitely a shitty night.
So as long as we're drawing the lines of who's a wrestler and who's not a wrestler, who's a wrestler you think you could beat?
Now, wait, you mean like in a real fight?
No, like let's say it's a match. Let's say it's a wrestling match.
Oh, Spike Dudley.
No, I don't think I could take Spike.
No,
he might be small, but he's fucking tough.
Well, we're talking about like a match. We're assuming that we've been pumped up, and there has been some backstory that is going to make us sound tough and shit. So,
I'd go with Zach Gowen. That's the guy with one leg. Oh, and there's also, you know what? How about No Legs?
That's his name, by the way.
No Legs.
Okay.
You want to know what his gimmick is?
I would assume that he doesn't have legs.
Wow. Are you sure you don't watch wrestling?
I am sure, yeah. I'm just astute,
Oh, yeah. Quick. Sharp as a tack.
His name is Dustin Thomas. He's actually quite the inspiration. He's quite a little amazing man there. But yeah, they call him No Legs. I might be able to take him. I think I got a better chance with Zach Gowen.
Okay. Yeah, I think I honestly think that like if it was real fight, there's no way I could take Spike. I think Spike could probably kick my ass.
Surprisingly tough would be Chris Jericho. They talk about how tough Jericho is. He's a pretty tough dude. He doesn't look like it, but he can take a punch. He's gotten in people's faces like Brock Lesnar, Goldberg. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, fuck it. You got it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the reason why I choose Spike though is because I think that he's probably one of the few guys out there that I could like be able to do any kind of moves to, because I am a short guy, so it's hard for me to be able to compete with even like Taz, the guy who is amazing but didn't make it in WWE because he was too fucking short,
Right?
And I think broke his neck. But he's taller than I am. I couldn't do anything to that motherfucker. He'd just fucking flip me around the ring.
Yeah, Taz is also an anomaly. He's amazing.
Yeah.
That's the thing he can do.
Yeah. Oh my god. I just saw the fucking what do you call it? A deadlift suplex he did to Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah.
And he got like a full fucking arch on. Like they stopped it. Like they got a screenshot of that shit. His back. Like I can't believe he bent like that. He's just fully arched in the air with Bam Bam Bigelow going face first into a fucking table. Like, what? And I don't know if you're familiar with Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a big guy, right?
Yeah.
Taz is like 5'9".
Jeez.
Yeah, he's squat. He's not cut, but he's what you would say would be muscular without being cut.
Okay.
And he fucking suplexed this guy. Actually, there's plenty of shows where he's just suplexing him everywhere. He got suplexed through the walkway, I think, at one point. It was his final show in ECW, and he suplexed Bam Bam Bigelow through the walkway. Was it that? I'm sticking with that. I think that's right.
Close enough.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was fucking amazing though.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe Tag is he was a butt plug.
Yeah.
Short and stout.
Yep.
Little fire hydrant man.
Yep.
But yeah, he was 5'9", but the other wrestlers made him look like a midget. It was insane. He's about average height, and they just made him look so small.
Yep. Yeah, because everybody else is huge.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't think any of those big wrestlers ever had a problem wrestling them. Like none of the big wrestlers in ECW. You would let's just cut away all the fucking veils here. Everybody knows that it's a staged sport. You go into it with a storyline. You know what's happening. You know who's going to win. But there's still a lot of pride that goes into it. There's a lot of wrestlers that won't sell to certain other wrestlers. There's wrestlers that won't lose to other wrestlers. They won't put other wrestlers over. I don't think there was a single wrestler that, at least in ECW, that ever had a problem wrestling Taz.
Besides Sabu.
Oh, did he have a problem?
Yeah, they legit didn't get along. But they still did business. They're professionals.
Right. Well, that's good.
I mean, Sabu's the ultimate professional.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, and that sucks too, because I can imagine those two putting on some amazing matches.
Yeah, they main evented the first ECW pay-per-view.
Huh.
Barely legal.
Oh man, so many 18-year-olds there. It's crazy.
Not the same barely legal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
there's only one of these. It wasn't 370.
different type of wrestling there.
My bad. Oh yeah. What the fuck were you talking about? Ring gear?
Yes. The original question I asked was who has the best ring gear.
Rob Van Dam.
Yeah. No, that's right. That's what it went down to, wasn't it? Wow. What a fucking convoluted walk that was.
I liked Jake the Snake's ring gear because he brought a snake.
Hey.
I can't do it anymore. I can't do Jake the Snake anymore because he brought a snake. Every time I see it now, I'm just like, man, that poor snake.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's sitting on the mat, it's bouncing up and down, and then he's going to take that snake, he's going to throw it on Andre the Giant. Andre's going to roll over on the damn snake. No, I'm good.
Yeah. Looking at it now as like an adult, yeah, I get what you're saying. It is problematic.
Yeah, it's 2020 eyes. If you look at a lot of wrestling from the 80s with 2020 eyes, you're just dumbfounded how the hell they got away with any of that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's back.
No. I was thinking of all the implications of that because it's like, yeah, how did they get away with that? But then it was like the '80s. And, they could have done the whole thing, and it could have been a gay guy in that bag, and it would have had the same effect to people.
And Adrian Adonis in the bag.
Oh man, fucking '80s, man! What a wild ride that was.
Okay, all right.
You know what?
As long as we're done with that question on the list, I'll just go ahead and move on to the next one. What would you say was the best satisfied storyline and the biggest missed opportunity for a storyline?
Oh, are you fucking kidding me?
The biggest missed opportunity is easy.
Go ahead.
So the biggest missed opportunity was in 2001 when WWF or E bought WCW, and they did the invasion angle.
Oh, yeah.
They fucked it up.
Yeah.
At the time, WCW's contracts were to their parent company, Time Warner, AOL, that big conglomerate.
Sure.
So a lot of the people that were in WCW, your Goldbergs, your Ric Flairs, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, those guys could sit out their contract and just wait and get paid instead of coming to WWE and performing for much less money. So what ended up happening is all the WCW wrestlers that come do the invasion, they all sucked. They were the bottom of the barrel guys that needed the money. So you end up doing this big invasion angle with the best of WWF and the kind of okayest of WCW, and it just fell apart.
Gotcha. That is a missed opportunity. I guess they just would have had to pay those WCW guys more money.
Oh, and it would have been worth it in the long run, but just at that time, it would have been a ton of money because these guys had some huge contracts.
Right.
You know, and what ended up happening is a few years later, those guys came over anyway. The Ric Flairs, the Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan, Sean Waltman, you know, you name it, they all ended up coming there anyway. Goldberg was there. You know, Goldberg was the big one. All of them except for Sting. They didn't get Sting. It took Sting forever. Yeah, it was a big swing and a miss. They couldn't get the guys they needed. And the big matchups you wanted weren't there. There was no Stone Cold versus Goldberg. Wasn't there. Rock versus comparable guy to The Rock. It just wasn't there. It didn't happen. So you had, you know, the biggest star you had from WCW was Booker T. You had Diamond Dallas Page. You had Scott. No, you didn't even have Scott Steiner. You know, there's just a ton of guys you didn't have.
Yeah.
So what was the other part of that question?
What was the best satisfied storyline? Like, what was the storyline we were like, yeah, that was what they should have done with that turned out well?
It was a bit of a rocky storyline. Lasted about 3 years. Or actually, no, it's lasted longer than that between Tetsuya Naito and Kazuchika Okada in New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's a really long storyline that had a pretty satisfying conclusion in January, where Tetsuya Naito was finally able to beat the ace, Kazuchika Okada, at the biggest show of the year, at the biggest everything of the year. Finally won, got his championship belts, and then COVID hit, and he's kind of stalled out. But
gotcha.
Yeah, pretty big storyline between Tetsuya Naito and Kazuchika Okada. It's epic. Many layers, like an onion. What do you say, Baron?
I'm trying to think. I've seen quite a few, and again, thanks to you, I've seen quite a few culminations storylines from New Japan that were just amazing. There's a lot of emotion that goes into those stories. I think I saw one with Will Ospreay. He had a big storyline, and I can't remember who he was wrestling. It was one of the Japanese wrestlers, blonde. Am I thinking of the right guys?
I don't think so if he's blonde.
I don't know. Anyways. Of course, then again, I have to say that a lot of the New Japan matches I watch has so much emotion in them that they feel like it's the culmination to the end of a big storyline. So it's kind of hard for me to tell sometimes. I fucking love them.
Yeah, New Japan's got a real nuanced storytelling. You know, they have stories that go over the course of a match. Then they'll have stories that go over the course of an arc of matches, 3 matches. And then there's an even bigger story that goes across years and years of matches with the same people. It's not like WWE where you could watch WWE and get a Roman Reigns match once a week. You know, in New Japan, they don't have singles matches all the time. It's always tag teams and 3 or 6 mans and 8 mans against each other. So when you do have that singles match, it's a big deal. And when you have that singles match, It's a cumulation of a story or some kind of product that's coming out of it.
So I think what I'll do is I will say that probably one of the culminations, favorite culminations to a storyline would be Cactus Jack and Mikey Whipwreck.
Oh, that's a great one.
That was good. They were a tag team, and Mikey Whipwreck was just a jobber. I mean, really, in ECW, and he was good. I liked him. He wasn't like a big name guy until like the end of the storyline, and then like he became a big fucking deal. But I really loved that storyline. Failed storyline. You know what? I'm gonna go with the whole draft, the whole WWE draft. They kind of started it out, and it was kind of okay, but all I could think of was, this is the first year they've done it. They're probably going to do it next year. Let's see what happens. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. So yeah, I'm going to say just the whole concept of a draft in WWE as a whole is a big hit and miss. It was horrible. So I know you may not know exactly what I'm talking about, but they did when they split their brands. So you had Raw and SmackDown. They did a wrestler draft because they had to, because they had everybody on the same roster, and then they're like, well, we're Raw and SmackDown now. We have to do that. We have to split up our wrestlers, and they did a whole big draft thing. And it was really a lot of fun watching it for the first time. But there are ways that they could have made it good in the coming years, and they just fucking they bombed hard.
So I think it's fitting that this will be my final question. What is your favorite finisher? The favorite finishing move?
Chaos Theory. Chaos Theory is an O'Connor roll into a German suplex.
Oh, gross.
Hard to describe. Once you see it, you're like, that's smooth. Innovated by a guy named Doug Williams from the UK.
Yeah, that's nice. Anything that German suplexy is just pretty. I don't know what it is about the German suplex. I just love it. It's pretty.
I'll say my favorite, just because of the era I was watching, was the Diamond Cutter.
Can't go wrong with a good Diamond Cutter.
I like that move.
The Diamond Cutter was fun, but it didn't get great until Canyon got a hold of it.
I was going to say, what about the Canyon Cutter?
That motherfucker Canyon cuttering that random dude in the arena. Oh man, I remember seeing that as it happened, and we all just fucking died. It was great.
Chris Canyon is criminally underrated.
Criminally. Oh my god, so good. It's kind of hard for me to. There's a lot of good ones out there. I don't know. I am honestly drawing a blank. We've talked about WWE so much. All I can think of is WWE stuff, and it's just like,
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Keep him over on his back.
Right. I'm sure there's a couple ones in there that I really like. Give me a second.
This is where he tells us his favorite is the RKO out of nowhere.
That's not fair. That's the Diamond Cutter.
Yeah.
So fun story about that move is innovated by a guy named Johnny Ace. It used to be called the Ace Crusher in All Japan Pro Wrestling. There's your history of the RKO. It was poorly done back then.
I imagine. If it was brand new, I'm sure every move was poorly done when it was first invented.
The DDT's always been amazing. Jake Roberts has always done a good DDT.
I'll tell you, the DDT is in the running to be one of my favorites because it's great. And I'll say, by terms of DDT, I'm going to take all incarnations of the DDT. So, you got the DDT, double arm DDT, the inverted DDT,
That's like 10 moves, 20 moves.
Yeah, but it's all the same one, though.
Swinging DDT, tornado DDT.
Tornado DDT is fun.
Draping DDT, the top rope DDT.
Ooh, gross.
And there's some pretty bad ones. Orange Cassidy does a top rope one that's kind of weird.
Yeah, honestly, I may just go ahead and go with the DDT because it's pretty. You know what? And I hate to say it, I hate to say it, but I really like the pedigree.
It's okay. You can say that.
Yeah. But I will also say that one of my favorites, and I'm biased when I say this, I don't even know what to call it, is the wheelbarrow slam.
Yes.
Is what it would be called.
Casadora.
Yeah, I mean I've seen a few people do it, and it always looks good to me. It always looks good. Oh, the frog splash! You get the right person to do a frog splash. It's so good. And then I'll even say the elbow drop. I love the elbow drop, but I will say that the best elbow drop in wrestling history is Kairi Sane.
Yeah, hers is amazing.
Amazing. I'll even make that my. I know I was joking before, but I'll make that my guild decree. Is Kairi Sane's best elbow drop in wrestling history?
That's a lot. You're saying a lot there.
I am.
I'm wearing a Macho Man shirt.
I'm saying it. I'm saying it to your Macho Man shirt.
Oh wow!
It's beautiful though. It's beautiful. If you get a chance, look it up, Rick. Oh my gosh, she puts her whole body into it. Well, that's another thing. I wish that we. I know we're coming to the end of this, but I wish we could have talked about this. I was going to bring it up, but we got sidetracked. The state of women wrestling today. Women wrestling today is fucking amazing. It's nothing like it used to be, and it's just great. I will watch.
Maybe we can actually find ourselves a female wrestling fan to be on that episode, and we can do that as a whole nother episode.
I mean, shit. Yeah, we could.
We need a whole episode in finding a female wrestling fan. You mean a wrestling fan that is female?
Yes.
Okay, that's going to be a hard one. There's some online. You can find them online, but in person, you might have better luck at a.
I know a couple. So because of Unsanctioned Pro. So yeah. Well, I have to be careful because I think that she thirst follows a lot of the wrestlers. So that may be she's probably more of a wrestling groupie than she is a wrestling fan. But
you can do both.
It's true.
Yeah.
That'd make for an interesting podcast.
But yeah, the state of women's wrestling is miles above where it used to be.
Oh my God.
The women athletes out there are insane. Japan's just pumping out women athletes left and right.
Oh my God, yeah. Fucking Asuka. You want to talk about a horribly mismanaged person in WWE right now? She's fucking amazing, Asuka.
Well, they let her be herself, and she's gotten a lot more popular.
Yes, I like what they've done with her now. And
they let her scream at people.
And I'm happy that Kairi Sane isn't a sailor anymore.
It was cool. That's her old gimmick.
I am very upset that they let her not be a sailor right before they did the WrestleMania that was apparently pirate themed. So
yeah, but COVID happened.
Fucking COVID.
Pretty much.
Anyways, but yeah, that could be a whole episode right there because women wrestling. I'll say it again. We could say it over and over and over again. You look at like your era where you're coming from, Rick. Like I know you're not looking at me in disbelief right now, but I'm going to pretend that you're looking at me in disbelief.
He's walking away.
Well, the only reason I'm not is because like the one modern wrestling match that I went to, and it was probably the best match that night, in my opinion. I don't know the names, but that's because I didn't remember anybody's name. It's not because I didn't pay attention to the female wrestlers' names. The only person I knew who was there was the Undertaker, and he didn't wrestle. But there was a woman there, and she kind of had a steampunk aesthetic.
When did you go?
Becky Lynch.
That's it. Becky Lynch.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry?
No. You're talking about someone who is like the top female wrestler right now. Well, was until she got pregnant.
Okay. Well, yeah, I saw her match. She wrestled, and like that was the best match of the night. Like the one I enjoyed the most. So like I saw with my own eyes in person that like it was something because like I mean like back when I was watching a long time ago, I think was like the introduction of like the bra and panty matches. Like they were literally straight up exploitation. Like you know what I mean? And like to watch the match that happened that night versus the matches that happened back when I, watched wrestling. Yeah, night and day. Like two entirely different things.
Yeah, and it's funny too because now, like again, at one of the unsanctioned pro shows I was at, there haven't been a lot of female wrestling matches there yet, and I hope that changes soon. But the one match I watched, it was Schlack and Maria Manic versus the Rejects, which I think I could be wrong. I think the Rejects are a local group, and the Ugly Ducklings. She is a beast. She was one of the better wrestlers on that entire card, and I'm completely comparing her to the rest of the men.
You talking about Maria Manic?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's signed to Ring of Honor now.
Oh, nice.
She got herself a contract.
Oh yeah, she deserves it. She's fucking amazing.
I love the man-eater tattoo.
Yes. Yeah. I enjoyed that. I actually had a chance to party with them and passed it up because I needed to get home. But yeah, I think that would have been interesting hanging out with Schlack, Maria Manic, a couple of other wrestlers. But yeah, it was a great match. Great match. She was throwing bitches around like crazy. And by bitches, I mean the Rejects and the Ugly Ducklings. But yeah, it's great. Wait, did I answer the question? Yeah.
Your favorite.
Yeah, the question was like favorite finisher. This is
yeah, it was like DDT.
We're past the question.
Yep, we're good. So I think we're closing it up, and I think that I'm walking away. I'm a wrestling fan, and I'm walking away with a better feeling for the current state of wrestling, I think. And it was good to walk down that memory lane, especially from your point of view, Rick, because you're still stuck in the 90s, which is great. But yeah, the only thing I gotta say right now is, if you're a wrestling fan out there listening, go out and catch some indie shows when the crisis is over, obviously. But our indie shows are really where it's at right now, and especially like in my area, which it would be Columbus, Ohio. Make sure you go out and check out Unsanctioned Pro when we get this crisis over with. Oh.
Guild Train approved.
Guild Train's coming, so we need to wrap it up. Oh.
Guild Train?
Right, oh yeah, the Guild Train has made an appearance in almost every episode now.
You could probably hear it at my house too.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I mean, like, definitely, I mean, I'm definitely, when I'm editing this episode, I'll definitely be listening back to some of the stuff you guys have said, and I'll be looking it up and watching stuff on YouTube. I mean, wrestling's fun. I mean, like, I got so many things that I'm into now. Like, I'm not sure I'll ever call myself a wrestling fan again, where I'm watching it all the time. But yeah, absolutely. We're all looking for distractions right now, and like, that's definitely a quick little thing that I can watch. Check us out on Twitch on Sundays. Check us out here on Mondays. Email us, castersguild@gmail.com if you have any questions. We haven't had too many yet, but if we get some questions, we'll read them on the podcast and answer for you right here. They don't necessarily have to be topical. Write us about anything. If you write into us, there might be a chance that we do a whole episode based on your question, because we're looking for topics. Yep. So thanks for coming on, Billy. Is there anywhere on the internet that people who like listening to what you had to say can find you?
No, I'm pretty private.
That's exactly the answer. That was the answer I was expecting.
Yeah, I keep myself on the internet. I'm what they call a lurker, so I will lurk your stuff, but for the most part, I stick to myself.
That's fine. We hope to have you back on. If you have anything else that you want to talk about, let us know, and we'll chat about it for a couple of hours.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Bye. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.